Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative Headline Weekend News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago, the opposition, PNM, has rejected claims that zones of special operations, ZOSO legislation could have prevented the Belmont triple murder. Really tragic. Even as the government defends the effectiveness of the ongoing state of emergency and continues to promote ZOSO as part of its wider crime strategy. My response: the ZOSO law can be effective in reducing gang activity in these well-known crime hotspots. Well-known crime hotspots that the PNM continues to remain in denial about and trying to promote using the tribal card and telling people that they're being stigmatized. If so much crime and gang activity and drug trafficking wasn't taking place in those districts, nobody would have been able to label them as crime hotspots. PNM patriots. But anyhow, so I said the ZOSO law can be effective in reducing crime activity in these well-known crime hotspots, but the government must agree to mandate that police officers wear body cams while on duty at all times. This will ensure that there won't be frequent cases of police brutality and extrajudicial killings. Madam Prime Minister, please make this compromise with the independent senators. It's very reasonable what they're asking for, so we can get this bill passed in the upper house. Having said that, I don't understand why they continue to defend the SOE that is in place right now, because you cannot continue to use a state of emergency to fight crime. The ZOSO law will be similar to an SOE, but not. And nobody, and it's only going to be used at certain times and so forth. So it is a much better alternative. But as I said before, need to put certain things in place to ensure that police do not abuse their authority. But you cannot continue to suspend people's constitutional rights by having an SOE in order to fight crime. What you're going to do? Continue to use it for the next 4 years? I mean, it was never the right thing to do under the PNM, and it's still not the right thing to do now. And what people are realizing, and even the government will be realizing, they're just not admitting it right now, is that basically people have become so accustomed with an SOE that they're going about living their lives normal. Now, yes, the police have certain amount of authority that they don't have usually, and therefore they might be able to go and conduct certain raids that they wouldn't have been able to do before. But due to the amount of extreme corruption within the TTPS and the incompetence within the TTPS, a lot of the times after they hold these individuals, they let them go, because they just don't have the investigative type of capability to be able to acquire the evidence needed to charge these individuals. It's like spinning top in mud, people, as we say here in Trinidad and Tobago. In a landmark expansion of the national healthcare system, Prime Minister Kamla Persaud-Bissessar officially opened the National Prosthetics Center at Clark Road in Penal on May 9th, 2026. Wonderful news. This permanent facility, established through a strategic partnership between Trinidad and Tobago and the government of India and Jaipur Foot USA, aims to restore mobility and dignity to citizens by providing prosthetic limbs free of charge. By positioning the country as a regional hub for rehabilitation and technical training with CARICOM, the Prime Minister emphasized that the center represents a shift from temporary assistance to a sustainable state-of-the-art service. This initiative not only addresses the high rate of lower limb amputations locally, but also offers a beacon of hope for patients across the Caribbean seeking independence and economic reintegration. And you know, the thing about it is, I saw people laughing at this report online. And most likely that's because it's PNM patriots. But those PNM patriots probably don't need this service and need these prosthetic limbs. Because I'm not just only sure. I know, well, yes, I am very sure that a lot of the individuals that are benefiting from this are PNM supporters. You will never hear them come out and say they're thankful for the government for doing this, That's so much of pride. But they know for a fact, under the Mighty Muffin Ghanaian Coal Pot Bicycle PNM, nothing was given to them. All they were told to do is tighten their belts, band their bellies, hold strain, give up macaroni pie and ham, We know of the government. That's what they were told. And they did it patriotically. They said, you know what? We have to put country first. But all of a sudden, because UNC now in office, no country first again. All patriotism gone. Because you see, patriotism for the PNM Patriots is towards their party. You know, they like to talk about party over politics and accusing UNC of doing that. Everything that they accuse other people of doing is what they actually do, you know. That's what the PNM Patriots do. Their party is their God, their race, and their country people. And that's just the reality. And that's why they will be ungrateful. They will go and they will accept these prosthetic limbs and still bash the government.
Twice today, tears came to my eyes. One was when we were doing the food processing facility in Couva. And let me talk about that first and then tell you the second one. 10 years ago, 11 years ago, we opened the Brechin Castle facility, 2014. Over 10 years, they left it to go into dereliction. There was nothing there that could be done. And today, 10 years later, thanks to Prime Minister Modi and the government and people of India, we were able to open that facility. And we were also blessed to have Minister Jaishankar there for that historic opening. And as I say, that brought tears to my eyes. But even more tears, just a moment ago, right here, when we saw the testimonials. Did that happen to any of you? Did you feel it? Did you see it? That these are little ones, big ones, young ones, old ones, every age, every race, every creed that you could see, benefiting from the last set of limbs that we had done. And again, that brought tears to my eyes. And they were tears of emotion, yes, but they were also tears of joy to see the persons who could not walk. I asked High Commissioner, I said, do you make these anywhere else in the world? Does any country make them? And he said, no. They make artificial limbs, but the cost is prohibitive, whereas the cost here, that they are helping us with and donating. So whilst I thank Prime Minister Modi and the government and people of India, let us also thank the Jaipur, USA. They have been very involved in this project. Mr. Patel and others, very involved. We thank you very much. And there's a little secret with this project. The High Commissioner is a very gentle soul. He doesn't overspeak, but he was very instrumental in having this project in Trinidad and Tobago. Very, very.
Thank you very much. Most respected Prime Minister, Dr. Lakram Bodo, Minister of Health, Honorable Ministers, dignitaries, High Commissioner, Permanent Secretaries, Mr. Ajit Patel ji, invited guests. It's really wonderful to be here with you today. And Prime Minister was just talking to me and she said, you know, you can say whatever you like today, it's my place. So I want to say two things, you know. Perhaps yesterday Prime Minister was the official day. Today for me, what I'm doing here, I could be doing at home. I could be doing exactly this routine. Of course, not in the distinguished company of your Prime Minister there, but it is really, you know, for those of us in public life, there is no greater satisfaction than to be participating in some concrete manifestation of development, some project which makes the lives of people better. And to do that in such a close partner. And in a way, I could say, you know, I have been, by the way, twice to this country before. But this time, in this place, I can say this is the real thing. This is the constituency. This is the constituency of an extraordinary member of parliament. I'm sure nobody disagrees with that. And to come here and be part of what, we call like punyakam, a really good work, something which you are rewarded for. I think that's an extraordinary feeling. So, let me begin again by saying something which I shared with the audience in the last event we had. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a man of enormous energy, everybody knows that. Extraordinarily wide range of interests. With a, I would say, almost an obsession about getting things done. So it's about leadership, it's about vision, but it's about delivery. And keeping all of that in mind, his constant advice to us in the Foreign Ministry is, if you have done things well at home, go and do it abroad in countries which have similar requirements.
Weather report for Sunday, May 10, 2026, Trinidad and Tobago. The day will be hot and primarily sunny with a high of 32 degrees Celsius and a low of 25 degrees Celsius. Expect slightly hazy and breezy conditions due to a mild to moderate concentration of Saharan dust. The heat index will make it feel as hot as 35 degrees Celsius. There is a low chance of brief isolated showers during the day and an odd shower overnight. Winds will be gentle to fresh from the northeast to southeast, ranging from 5 to 35 kilometers per hour. Seas are forecast to be slight to moderate with open water waves near 1.5 meters. Sensitive persons should take precautions as Saharan dust levels fluctuate.
International news now. Israel built a clandestine military outpost in Iraq's western desert just before its air campaign against Iran, with U.S. knowledge and approval, of course, to house special forces and search and rescue teams supporting strikes 1,000 miles away. In early March, an Iraqi shepherd reported unusual helicopter activity, and when Iraqi troops moved to investigate, Israeli airstrikes killed one soldier and wounded two others to keep the base hidden. Iraq blamed the U.S. in a UN complaint, but Washington says it wasn't involved. The base was never officially discovered. Outgoing Israeli Air Force Chief Tomer Bar had hinted at operations in a March letter referring to special missions which could ignite the imagination. Now, the thing about it is, honestly speaking, I stand fully with Israel, but at the end of the day, people, if it is the Iraqi soldiers were just going to just do their job, that shouldn't have taken place, sir. And I think that the Israeli government should hold whichever military officers that carried out that strike, hold them accountable, because yes, you're fighting against terrorism and whatsoever. They can't be killing no innocent officers who are just going to perform their duties to find out. They didn't know that these Israeli people were there. Honestly speaking, I'm sorry to tell you that. I cannot agree with something like that. I don't think that was the right thing. So when they're targeting and striking like Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis and whatsoever, they're striking them. Those are terrorists that want to destroy you and are actually attacking you. Wonderful. I fully support that. We talk about the Iraqi military just doing their job to find out who it is in their territory. And because you want to keep the military base secret, you killed an officer. I'm sorry to tell you people, I cannot agree with that. The fragile ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon reached a critical breaking point this Saturday, May 9th. That was yesterday, of course, as a surge of drone and rocket attacks ignited the border region. Hezbollah launched over 20 separate strikes into Israeli territory. And this is what you're not going to hear from the Kakash media and CNN and stuff like that. Most of the times, it isn't preemptive strikes that takes place. Israel usually is responding to terrorist attacks from these radical jihadists, whether it's Hezbollah, Houthis, Hamas. So Hezbollah launched over 20 separate strikes into Israeli territory, including explosive drones that wounded 3 IDF soldiers and forced thousands of civilians into shelters from the Galilee Acre. The Israeli military responded with a massive wave of airstrikes against 85 targets in southern Lebanon, while simultaneously issuing urgent evacuation orders for 9 border villages as ground tensions urged. Did you hear what I just said there? And I keep saying this over and over again. Minus the situation that took place in Iraq there just now, right? That I mentioned. Usually this is the way that Israel operates. They will warn civilians in areas, enemy areas, to evacuate before they carry out their strikes to prevent mass casualties of innocent civilians. That's how Israel usually operates and moves. But of course, the Kakash media in Trinidad and Tobago and the CNN, the far-left radical jihadist CNN and BBC will never tell you that side of the story. With Hezbollah deploying new unjammable fire optic drones and Lebanese officials reporting dozens of casualties from yesterday's retaliatory strikes, the U.S. brokered truce appears to be collapsing into a renewed state of full-scale war. It was only a matter of time. Israel will abide by a ceasefire and it will go on for years, you know. If these radical jihadists have no intention, they will say, yes, we are going to have a ceasefire, and then they are not going to abide by it. It's just not in them. It is part of their whole ideology. They believe that they have to usher in their Messiah. They have to do things to usher in the arrival of the Messiah. So what they have to do? Wage war against the infidels on earth. Destroy little Satan, which is Israel, and destroy big Satan, which is America. And that will usher in the Messiah, their jihadist Messiah back on earth to enforce Sharia law upon everyone. And they're not going to stop having that goal and that mission. So they will lie and say, yes, we will agree to a ceasefire. And then a couple of days or weeks later, continue with their strikes and their attacks. Because they know for a fact that what's going to happen is that the mainstream media is going to lie and make it look as though it's Israel just wrongfully attacking them.
Bible quote of the day. 1 Corinthians 13:1-13. If I speak in the tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies they will cease, where there are tongues they will be stilled, where there is knowledge it will pass away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part, but when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror, then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three remain, faith, hope and love. But the greatest of these is love.
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's headline news. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe, most of all. In Jesus' name.